And now it's time to go back to the Tab Ultra C and compare it to the Tab Ultra C Pro. I've just run the Geekbench on this, so this is totally hot on the press. Off the press. I haven't actually seen these Geekbench results yet. Yeah, I'll say one of the big differences. I'm going to leave the Tab Ultra C Pro on the right-hand side again. Again, there you go. It's the nuisance of it. I have to actually take it out of its case. I don't have to, but I just don't want the likelihood of those key presses by having it open, the keyboard open on the back there. I think everyone ought to copy Remarkable's keyboard case, frankly, but probably they can't do that yet. So we've got the Tab Ultra C Pro here on the right-hand side again, and now the Tab Ultra C, still a great device, still was using this yesterday just to be typing on, was using it this morning actually to type on as well, and had no problems in doing that. Really enjoyed it, frankly. It's not lagging behind too much, is it? It's not too shabby. Let's go both of these in a browser as well to sort of see how close that performance is. Yeah, I've got enough lights on there. Just go standard procedure, go to the BBC. You can see it just, yeah, I think it did that quicker on the right. Okay, so let's look at Storm, is it Kieran? Is that how you say that? I'm going to get rid of the image and I'm going to bring the image back in. And can you see, yeah, it's just finishing it's kind of rendering a bit quicker. Yeah, it is. So you see, I don't know if this is really coming through here on this here. We will do OneNote Ranger as well, but I can certainly see that. There's this kind of like really interesting thing about Chrome as a browser. And what it does is it actually builds up the quality of the image. It makes a kind of space and then it loads the image in. But you can possibly see this has when it's clearing its sort of space, this has a slight, they both have a flicker actually, but this one on the right actually does that flicker and gives you the fully rendered image quicker than the older Tab Ultra does. But both of them are impressively quick scrolling, but certainly there is better performance now on the right hand side. And you would expect that, wouldn't you? Okay, let's see the different modes now as well, as we see the plight of my favorite football team. Can you believe it, by the way? I think we lost 8 out of the last 15 games, which is nuts. Let's go into fast mode. Here are the excuses. Turn the volume down on the volume keys. I'll play a little bit so we know what this is like. I certainly don't want to get copyright strike.
But also, yeah, you have to do excuse. And I've said it before. I know when there are setbacks, then the routines in the way of play are not.
It's pretty impressive, really, isn't it? I mean, this just wasn't possible when I started looking at it. I think we're up to like 15 frames per second, but they're both similar in terms of their performance with this video. Yes, it does look better. You're getting some flicker on his shirt that you aren't getting here on the left. So, I mean, I really thought that the Eink panel was the limiting factor, but clearly there's a bit of an interplay between the processor and the screen itself. Geekbench was what we wanted to look at. And one thing you can say is that this on the right hand side, the Tab Ultra C Pro is running Android 12 and it's running Android 11 on the left hand side. The Qualcomm chips are good on both of these. I don't need to run a new benchmark. I've just run one on both of them. So we go history, CPU. Yeah. So this is behind the Note F3C. It's way behind the Tab Ultra C Pro. So yes, there is a significant upgrade, and you can see the difference in the chips. 4 cores at 2 gigahertz here on the left on the Tab Ultra C, and 1 core at 2.8 and 3 cores at 2.4 here, and then the upgrade in the RAM as well. So let's have a look. That's the comparisons. It's a different category of device now, isn't it? Yeah, and they've compared it to the S23 Ultra. You know, it's half the performance, but I mean, the S23 Ultra is going to be what, £1,000 worth of phone, and you've still got an expensive Eink panel to put on top here. I personally think these are actually bargains, but I'm used to this price point now, and when I first entered this tablet market, I ummed and ahed a lot about the price point, and I really thought, will I regret this? You can probably tell that no, I don't regret it. I think it's been a great journey. It would have been a great journey if I was still using my Remarkable One. I would still be loving the Eink journey with its half a gig of RAM. Then the GPU scores, again, massively, even more blown out of the water by the Tab Ultra C Pro. So a significant upgrade in performance, right? Why are they lagging behind the Android version so much? due to heavy customization. I think what it is you think about when that chip was actually made. So the chip was made essentially in 2020. So it is a 3-year-old chip, okay? So it's some sort of new chip, as in newly manufactured, but it was made at those times. And when they make a chip, they license it to be used on a certain category of Android. I am hopeful that we'll get an update here, but I don't think that's going to be the case, and I wouldn't hold my breath on it. So I don't think it's massively that important. They can release security patches. It's just that there's a point at which Google will stop supporting that Android. Boox say, and they've said this in the press release for these new devices, they said that they will support with software updates until 3 years after the launch of a device. So that's the kind of lifespan that you're expecting. I just think that the chips, the new Android is designed and licensed for the latest chips, basically, and that's the way it is. Yeah, you do. And I say, like, I mean, we're talking, I can see the difference because I'm right here with it, and I've been using this for 6 months, and now I've been using this right next door to it. And I can tell I picked this up and I knew it was faster, but only because I've got that reference point. If you don't have that reference point, you won't miss it. And I really think you're absolutely right about that. The benchmark results are so much better, but it does exactly what it says on the tin. That's, Synthesizer Explorers, that's an interesting one. Delivered the day before the press release for the Pro, you got mad. But have you still got an excellent tablet in front of you? And, you should care for it and love it. It's really, really good. So somebody's asked about OneNote twice now. Should I do it in comparison next to the other one as well? So this is not perfectly ideal for using with Eink. What's happened here? We got to the point where we've got too many apps open now. It's coming. And you can draw here. It draws with its sort of preview, like an Eink preview. And then it renders it into OneNote. It's just so that you, as you're writing, you don't get this horrible mega laggy thing. And there is still a slight delay. I don't know where that delay's come from. It would be really laggy if it wasn't doing that. And I do hope Boox would bring us the option to be able to use that in different apps as well. And so you can use OneNote. It's not something that I do regularly use, but I would, if I was a OneNote user, I would use it on my Eink as well. What's the weight difference between the two? Yeah, they did reduce the battery slightly, didn't they? I would say pretty much imperceptible. I don't know whether it is actually slightly thinner. It feels a little bit. And this is a good time to show you the edges as well. I think that is ever so slightly thinner than the older version. Don't scratch the ink. Okay. If it is, it isn't by much. I think it's a tiny, tiny amount. So weight difference, pretty much negligible. But the edges are, as I showed them earlier, slightly different. And there's a new little colour to this as well, but it's a very, not even convinced there is a difference in colour now. I think they're the same. If there is, it's a very subtle difference, those two colours. Thank you, Blue to Red. Yeah, you know the stats. Do you want to be my stat man on my live stream if you like? It'd be great to see you here every time, my buddy. Thank you so much for your help with your input today. Yeah, of course they carry on just fine, working just fine as well. Are the third-party apps as laggy on the Pro? You know how bad the experience in old Boox devices. Yeah, you're still not going to be able to use it for drawing. I was sort of hopeful with the 3C, and I installed a drawing app, and I thought, maybe on the Ultra Fast we can get something good. All right, we'll try it out. Try Sketchbook, but it's not. Unfortunately, for drawing, we're just really hoping for Boox to bring out their drawing app. That installed very rapidly, didn't it? So Sketchbook, then you see that it really makes it, even in ultra fast, it's just not going to be a pleasure to draw on it. You can use it if you need to push, make a bit of line art, do a little trace, but really, even in ultra fast, it's just never going to get there till it works though. I'm really hopeful that we'll get a drawing app, and because Boox will do a good job. So the next thing I just wanted to compare was the keyboard cases themselves. So you can see the difference, but the size of that keyboard space is actually slightly larger on the Tab Ultra C Pro, ever so slightly larger, but also the key caps are slightly different. I feel like these are embedded a little bit further within there, although I don't know if the travel. I think the travel is actually a little bit deeper here on the Tab Ultra C, and it's a little bit less here on the right hand side. So let's go into text notepad. I don't know what's happened to the cursor there. It didn't look like that a minute ago. Is it because I'm in a certain mode? No. Balance is a typing mode. I would say this does feel like the slightly more premium keyboard now, although there's not much in it. It's not something that I would sort of dislike using either of them for. So there we are. Obviously you've got the trackpad, and I've actually tried to do an accidental touch. That might have been the first one I said I was trying to do it. I've actually gone out of my way to try and hit it with my thumbs, and that's the first time I've managed to do it. And now I've done it a few times, but I haven't had many issues with it. There is a way to actually turn it off if you go into settings and look for physical keyboards. I think it should be all right. You go more settings, physical keyboard, and you can turn the whole trackpad off. I think that they want to do a shortcut here as well, in my opinion, to give you, just switch it off. It would be nice actually if there was a button to do that as well. I like that. They've added a couple of other things as well. They've added a search function key, and they've added a split screen. So that's nice. This app doesn't support a split screen, but let's go to one that does. That's good. That's, again, something which is going to make it incredibly quick. And then there's an Eink Center shortcut as well. But what I'm not enjoying, though, is that there isn't a shortcut back out of split screen. But I can do it like that. Ooh, look, does it stay there? Is that my other app there? No, that's the scroll. And you've got gestures like on other trackpads as well, up and down the way, just like this. Awesome. Cool. So they're quite similar. They're quite good. Obviously, you don't have this issue with it disengaging and re-engaging quite a lot. Then you do have the issue that there's no real way to use it as a notepad inside the keyboard case. Not at this point. I think they might be better. Good. I've also, in my testing footage, I've tried out Space Desk, and I will be back after my 2 weeks or more of using it at work, and then I will give you a full review, my considered opinion after using this device for my use case, which is my planner for work, but now it's become my productivity device for work as well. And I'm really loving using Eink for more than just a planner. Let's have a little look. The gap between the GPU power is huge. It is absolutely massive. It's ridiculous wide. It's almost unfair. Absolutely. Do they have an ear microphone port, or can you use earbuds wirelessly with them? Yes, you can use earbuds wirelessly with them. You've got Bluetooth, just like on any Android tablet. You can use Bluetooth up there. Look, so absolutely you can. You could also, I think, use a USB-C wired earphones if you wished. Yep, you can listen to audiobooks on there. I got used Max 2 on eBay 2018. It does work fine. Did update to yeah. And I think that they will also come. Is that the Max 2? Is that Max Lumi 2? So it's a Max 2. I don't know whether that will get a 3.5, but they did say there's a list today of devices getting 3.5, and then there will be a few more added as well. So I think the 3.5 will go down to, for instance, Note, which is less than 3 years old still. Do you really use GPU on devices like these? Not really. The Boox Super Refresh works well on the non-Pro, which is all you really need for the GPU for. Yep, true. But the video looked so much better, didn't it, as well? And if people are saying that they might use 3D software, 3D games here, I'm sure you won't, but there we are. Yeah, I always liked the remarkable fabric sleeve case as well. Yeah, I enjoyed that on my first one. My use case has drastically evolved. It was about just being my note taker. And I was like, wow, cool. You can, with Remarkable, you can send to Remarkable. It has a Chrome extension that I can just send a web page and read it on there. And I can annotate on it like it's a PDF. But now my use case is, get into Xtiles and type away. My use case is access all my Drive documents, do my emails, answer your comments. If I'm responding to your comment on YouTube, then I would almost certainly going to have been typed on a device, a Boox device with a keyboard case now, because that's just like, I'm like tired. I want to do something productive. I'll sit and use my Eink tablet where I'm not going to get any more eye strain. I don't have to sit at a computer. I don't have to sit at another OLED screen or anything like that. I can just tap away, I can just use the voice typing and get so much done on here. I think they're absolutely excellent. It's not a laptop yet. It's not perfect for everything, but it is pretty darn incredible. And yeah, wouldn't that be a device? Tab XC. Writing on it without the case is just fine. It will probably do the wobble thing with the camera, but my desk is very wobbly anyway. My desk has very little in the way. I love it, but it has very little in the way of sort of smooth, perfect surfaces. So, you know, it's not the best place to test it out. Can you hide the on-screen keyboard? Yes, you can. Yeah, there's a button. There's a button in the thing. I actually like the on-screen keyboard to be there when I'm using the keyboard, because then I can use that. I can use the voice typing thing. Which I just like to be able to switch between the two, really. And when you use the voice typing, it's actually narrow as well, so you get a bit more screen real estate as well. Is the trackpad sensitive? Difficult to... No, it's pretty good, actually. I mean, there's quite a lot of variation with the trackpad sensitivity on different devices, but this one seems okay. It seems like, you know, apart from the fact that that is one thing about it. You kind of need to go out of balance mode, and I've just sort of live in balance mode most of the time. But you kind of need to go out of balance mode to actually use the trackpad well. It's pretty sensitive. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's, you know, it's not kicking it out of bed at all. It's good. So yeah, like a typical laptop keyboard. It's quite big as well, actually, for something of this size. You often find them quite small and usable. Yeah, well, we'll see. I think that's the thing. The big companies are actually far behind these little nimble companies that have been focused on the ink, that have seen the sort of niche use, and now that we're all a bit more interested in it, it's going to take a while for the Lenovo's and Microsofts to catch up. Yeah, I did that at the start. It works, and I did sit and type a little bit on it earlier on my lap. It works. Probably not quite as easy to use on that